What's going on, guys? The Fat MMA Critic is back again, here to do my UFC prediction video for UFC on Fox, Johnson versus Dodson. Right, I'm probably going to be doing quite a lot of videos the next couple of weeks, because we got next week we got Aldo Edgar, and then the week after that, what else we got? Week after that we got UFC London, which is pretty cool, in Wembley Arena, which isn't a bad card. But, you know, it's not the best. It's a London card. What do we expect? Then we got the Ronda Rousey one about a week and a half after that. Yeah, about a week and a half after that. No, the week after that. Then a week after that, we got the one in Japan, or just a little over a week after that, we got the one in Japan, March 3rd. And then we've got a bit of a wait, about a month and a half, almost 2 months, until the big UFC on Fox, which is Henderson versus Melendez. Also announced on that card is Daniel Cormier versus Frank Mir. So apparently Matt Brown versus Dan Hardy could be on that as well. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty stacked card, that one. But anyway, let's talk about the card in hand, if I can find it on my Wikipedia page again, because I started fucking about and going back. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to prelim it like I normally do. The first bout is a welterweight bout between Simon Thorson and David Mitchell. I think Thorson's is one of those guys who fought on the Sweden card. I think he did, yeah. I'm going with David Mitchell. He's had some pretty decent wins over some okay competition. Next fight is a middleweight bout between Rafael Natal versus Sean Spencer. I'm going for Rafael Natal. Next fight is a welterweight bout between Mike Stumpf and Pascal Kraus. I'm going for Pascal Kraus. The next fight is a heavyweight bout between Mike Russo and Sean Jordan. Mike Russo should win this. I mean, the guys that he's fought and beat aren't that bad. Pretty decent opposition. I know he lost to Fabricio Verdum, but Verdum looks like a beast at the moment, and he's fighting Sean Jordan, who's a bit of a fucking bum. You know, the biggest one in this thing is probably LeVar Johnson. He submitted LeVar Johnson, but that doesn't say much. LeVar Johnson is the guy who got mounted by Pat Barry. So anyway, yeah. I'm going with Mike Russo. Next bout is a light heavyweight bout. Excuse me, between Ryan Bader and Vladimir Matyushenko. I'm going for Ryan Bader. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Matyushenko won. I'm just looking at right now at his UFC record, and the only guys he's lost to are to Alexander Gustafsson and to John Jones. He's beaten some kind of, you know, middle of the road light heavyweights. But if you look at the guys he's lost to out of his whole career, they've really been top guys. If you take away Vernon Tiger White, which was his first loss over like 13 years ago. We got Tito Ortiz when Tito was the champ. Andrei Arlovski when he was almost the heavyweight champ. Then we got Antonio Little Nog when Little Nog was actually decent. John Jones, and then Gustafsson, you know, which isn't that bad. So I won't be too surprised if Vladdy won it, but I think Bader's got it. The next fight is a surprising addition for me for this undercard. I would have thought that this would take away the place of the first bout, which is Eric Koch on the main card, which is Eric Koch and Ricardo Lamas. I'm surprised that this fight, Clay Guida and Hatsuhoki, is on the undercard. But anyway, this is Clay Guida's first tryout at 145, and he's got a tough opponent in Hatsuhoki. Didn't look the greatest the last time out over Ricardo Lamas. Obviously lost. He had wins over George Roop and looked terrible in that, and he had a win over Bart Blaszczewski, which was a very dominating win. It was a good win. It's a tough one for me to call, because I'm talking about Haoki, who's been at featherweight for the whole of his career for 11 years now, and he's beaten some of the best. You know, Marlon Sandro, Jeff Curran, Mark Hominick twice. He's fought some of the best at that weight. But Clay Guida's Clay Guida, and he's always a very exciting fighter. But I mean, he's come off 2 losses. But look at the losses. You got a unanimous decision against Benson Henderson, and a split decision against Gray Maynard. Which split decision is ridiculous because Gray won that fight 100%. Right, my prediction is going to be Clay Guida, and the only reason I say that is because I don't think Clay Guida is going to fight like he fought Gray Maynard. If he does that, he's going to lose, and he'll lose every fight because he doesn't do anything. He's not engaging the fight. He's just running away. That's all he's done is run away in that fight. But I've got to pick Clay Guida in this one. The last fight on the prelims is TJ Grant versus Matt Wyman. This is a pretty easy one. We're going with Matt Wyman. Last time out, armbarred Paul Sass, which is pretty amazing. But yeah, he's becoming a pretty decent lightweight now in this division, like middle of the road. Like, you know, probably never going to be a contender or anything like that, but he's always going to be a good measuring stick for anybody. So I'm picking Matt Wyman. Now we're on to the important part of the card, the main card. Excuse me. The first bout on the card is a featherweight fight between Eric Koch and Ricardo Lamas. I've got a feeling this could be for like a #1 contendership fight because we got Eric Koch coming off a 4-fight winning streak. The 2 notable UFC wins are excuse me, Rafael Assunção and Jonathan Brookens. And if you haven't seen the picture of Jonathan Brookens on Wikipedia, his page, you've got to see it because he looks like a special kid. He looks like a retard. It's so funny. It's really hilarious. Go and check that out. Versus Ricardo Lamas, who is coming off a pretty decent win over Hatsuhiro Aoki. He's also coming off a win over Cub Swanson, and we all know what Cub Swanson's doing recently. Yeah, so in my personal opinion, I believe this is probably going to be for a #1 contendership bout, or it depends. I think if Clay Guida wins, they might put Koch or Lamas up against Clay Guida and make that a #1 contendership bout, because obviously I think they'd rather have Clay Guida rather than Koch or Lamas fight Jose Aldo or Frankie Edgar, whoever the winner would be, because Clay Guida is the bigger name. But I'm going to go with Eric Koch. I think he's got the heavier hands, and I think he will probably finish this. So Eric Koch is my pick. Koch or Cock? Coke, not Cock. Coke. A lot of people call him Coke, but I've heard it Koch and Coke. I say Koch. The next bout is probably going to be fight of the night in my opinion, and it's Donald Cerrone, a lightweight bout rather, between Donald Cerrone and Anthony Pettis. Is this a rematch? Have they fought before? I've got a feeling they have. Or maybe they haven't. No, they have not. They have not fought. But anyway, since coming into the UFC, Donald Cerrone has looked amazing. The guy last year, he went 1, 2, 3, 4. He went 4-1 in the UFC. He had 5 fights, and the one loss was to Nate Diaz, which is a unanimous decision. He's beaten a lot of decent opposition in this division. Charles Oliveira, Dennis Siver, Jeremy Stevens, last time out Melvin Gallard. He's beat Jamie Varner. He's beat a whole heap of guys. And he's just looked really solid, really solid at lightweight in the UFC. Anthony Pettis obviously kind of got fucked out of his title shot coming into the UFC. Beat Benson Henderson, the famous Showtime kick. Came into the UFC with a lot of hype. Lost to Clay Guida, unanimous decision. Then kind of eked out a split decision over Jeremy Stevens. Then absolutely owned Joe Lozon. But it's been almost a year now since he's fought. I'm got to go with Donald Cerrone, the guy within the time that Pettis has been off. He's had like 3 fights in the UFC for Pettis' 1, and he's had fights against top competition like Nate Diaz, Melvin Gallard. So I've got to go with Donald Cerrone, and I think Donald Cerrone's going to finish it. I don't know how, but I think he's going to finish it. And I got a feeling that Cerrone will probably be the #1 contender in the lightweight division. Obviously after whoever wins out of the Gilbert Melendez / slash Benson Henderson scenario, and if it's a split decision, will they do another rematch? I really hope. I think I'm going to do a video, maybe, I'm not 100%, about all this rematch bullshit that's been going on, especially in the lightweight division, about, oh, it's a bit of a close decision, yeah, let's give him a rematch. I'm not really a big fan of that, because it just halts the whole division so much. It's a joke. Like, if you look at Frank Edgar's last 6 fights, he fought Gray Maynard twice. He fought BJ Penn twice, Gray Maynard twice, and then he fought Benson Henderson twice. I think that's got to be the only time someone's ever done that in UFC or MMA history. You know, 3 rematches after one another. Anyway, it's got on to probably the most exciting bout, and probably the one that everyone really wants to watch on this card, and that is Quinton Rampage Jackson, last fight on his contract, by the way, versus Glover Teixeira. Now, obviously, Rampage is coming off 2 losses, one to John Jones, nothing really bad there, and the other to Ryan Bader, which we all know he came in a little bit heavy, but he did have a bum knee and he did need knee surgery afterwards. He literally was fighting with one knee, but because he wanted to fight in Japan, he just dealt with it. But, you know, let's get this straight. Glover Teixeira has not proved himself yet. He's proved himself against Carl Kingsbury and Fabio Maldonado. Yeah, he looks good. Yeah, he demolished them both. But let's not forget how Fabio Maldonado rocked him. And that's Fabio Maldonado. That's not Rampage Jackson. That's not a left hook from Rampage. If that was the same left hook from Rampage, he'd be out. He would have been out. That would have been it. He's obviously got an amazing record. He's 19-2. The guy hasn't lost for 5, 6, 7, 8 years now. And he has beaten, in my personal opinion, I think he's actually a better guy, maybe a little bit heavier. He's beaten guys like Sokaju, Matt Horwich, Mauricio Cruz, Marvin Eastman. For me, the biggest name on his ledger is probably Rico Rodriguez. And yeah, he's got a lot of stoppages, and I believe he's actually stopped. Out of his 19 wins, he's had a stoppage in 17 of them, which is pretty decent. But I see the guy as a steamroller. I see he's big and he's powerful, but he hasn't proved himself against the top opposition. And this is the first time he's really going to face real top opposition. If we look at Rampage, the guy has been fighting since 1999, and since day dot, his first fight was against Mike Pyle. You know, he's got wins over the best of the best. He's got wins over Igor Vovchanchyn, Kevin Randleman, Murillo Bustamante, Chuck Liddell twice. And we're also talking Chuck in his prime. Yeah. Wins over Vanderlei Silva, Murillo Hua, Ricardo Arona, Matt Linland, Keith Jardine, Lyoto Machida. He's got, you know, the list goes on. He's beaten the best of the best in that division ever. To ever stand out. I'm gonna go with Rampage. If Rampage, in my opinion, this isn't gonna go the distance. I don't see Rampage want to take it down. I don't see Glover that wants to take it down. I think Glover knows that this is his opportunity to make a statement, a knockout statement. And this is also Rampage's opportunity that if he knocks him out, he's just knocked out their rising star in the light heavyweight division. I'm going with Rampage KO. That's my pick. The next fight, I'm not going to spend too much time on. I know it's the main event. It's a flyweight title bout between Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson and John Dodson. And it's probably the hardest fight for me to call on the whole card, because I said in a prediction video a while ago that I think John Dodson, when he fought Jesus da Silva, that he was going to become a flyweight champion, and you know, he's there at that point now. But Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson really impressed me over his fight against Benavidez. I was very surprised that he won that. I've actually only got like 20 seconds, so I need to wrap this shit up. I'm gonna go with Dodson, because I said I think he's gonna win. So I'm gonna go with Dodson, even though I think Johnson could take it. But I'm gonna go with Dodson for the win. That's been the Fat and May Craig. I've got a couple of seconds left. Until then, guys, enjoy the fights.